Welcome back to A Year of Final Fantasy, and we are in the month of Carbuncle, and today we're going to look at another piece of Final Fantasy media. So far we've covered the novels, which were several months ago, as well as the movie, Spirits Within, and the anime, which is Final Fantasy Unlimited, as well as the Final Fantasy V OVA. But this time we're going to delve into the manga of the franchise. This is just a general manga video, all except for one of them, which I'm going to mention at the end of the video, and that's what we're going to do next time. So anyway, let's just go ahead and get on with it. Unless otherwise stated, all of these manga series are exclusive to Japan, but they have been translated by fans over here, so if you do want to go read them, you're going to have to do a little bit of digging, so just keep that in mind. As I can't read or comprehend what do they call it, moon runes or whatever on the internet, I'm just going to be giving you basically most of the informational portions of this. I'm also going to show you some art from the various scenes, so maybe that'll, tide you over as well. The first proper manga adaptation was known as Yukyu no Kaze Densetsu Final Fantasy III. And that actually reminds me, I'm probably going to mispronounce all of these names, so I'm sorry for that. But anyway, that name means Eternal Legend of Wind. Final Fantasy III had this kind of wind theme going on. I'm not sure why they chose to go with wind. It just seems to me that, I don't know, maybe they were gearing up for some kind of like different games in the franchise, going to different elements or something. I don't know. Anyway, Final Fantasy III was all about wind. The manga came out in September of 1992, well after Final Fantasy III had been released, and you'd think they'd use it as a multimedia platform kind of tie-in thing for Final Fantasy IV, but either way, anyway, we have this Final Fantasy III adaptation, which honestly looks pretty good. I can't, again, say anything about the story, but the art is decent. Next up, we actually take a fairly large hiatus until January 10th of 2004, where we have a 3-volume manga adaptation of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles entitled, here we go, Hadanaki Sora no Muko ni Route, and that translates to Reading Beyond the Endless Sky. A few years later, a manga adaptation of Final Fantasy XII came out in 5 volumes over 3 years from 2006 to 2009, and this particular run received no subtitle as far as I can see, and it's simply referred to as the Final Fantasy XII manga. It seems that there have been some fan translations floating around out there that are fairly easy to find, so if the new release of the Final Fantasy XII Zodiac system kind of got you pumped for more Final Fantasy XII, you could probably go out there and satiate your appetite for some Final Fantasy XII goodness. And so here is kind of weird. We don't actually wait very long for our next series. It's actually in the middle of this Final Fantasy XII manga run. We were also greeted with another series from the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles side of things, known as Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Ring of Fates 4 Komansoryu Kumiku, I guess, maybe? That's probably completely wrong, but that is an adaptation of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Ring of Fates, and this particular manga appeared in 2 volumes. Roughly translated, the title means Final Fantasy Ring of Fates 4 Panel Anthology Comic, and that's pretty much all I can find about it. In fact, there's not a lot of pictures or anything about this comic, so just letting you know that that's a thing that exists. So, alright, this is going to be a little bit on the shorter side of the videos, but I'm glad you stayed until the end because, of course, I mentioned at the beginning of this, there was one particular manga series that I wasn't going to lump in here. Honestly, I probably could have, but I didn't. So, that's because earlier this year in 2017, we got announced the Final Fantasy franchise as a whole inspired a completely original manga, not based on any kind of previous games, not taking the narrative or lore or anything. It's just a completely self-contained Final Fantasy manga that's all on its own, which is really, really cool. This is going to be written by Hazuki Minase and illustrated by Itsuki Kamiya, and the title is going to be roughly Final Fantasy Lost Stranger. And obviously there's more to that, but we'll get into that next video. So as always, until next time, Crystal Warriors, keep on gaming.